Hopefully, volume is good. I'm once again back in the studio. We're still working on getting the sound dampening so we don't have this echo. I've got got a little special microphone in front of me, so hopefully you're getting some good quality sound out of me that's not too echoey. If so, as usual, I apologize. So I'm going to stress this, I'm going to try to keep this show down to a very low count on time-wise, because I don't want to eat the rest of your Sunday up. And plus, I've got a new employee that's sitting outside right now. Well, not sitting outside, but it's out there running the show by herself. And it's kind of like her last little show before she gets a set of keys and has to do all the work by herself. All right, so let me make sure that we got what we got here. All right, so I'm going to try to do a recap today. I got a whole bunch of windows open, so just bear with me. As I mentioned before, we were going to talk, or as you can see in the title, we're going to do kind of a Nova recap. The Nova Open was this weekend, or it's actually, I think it's still going on right now. They're wrapping up Game 9 today. Massive Warhammer 40,000 tournament, and that is going on live. I know a bunch of people are actually listening to it or listening to the recap or watching top tables right now. And we just got some news on some upsets. So the tournament pairings that I've got up there right now in the Nova Open Grand Tournament placings is going to change here shortly. So let's get to it. So some of you guys might be interested. Who's on top table right now? Well, let me tell you as I go full screen with this as soon as it wants to come up. Oh, we don't want that one. We want this one. Uh-oh. Why am I getting a message from somebody named James? Oh, we don't care. All right, let's see here. Top table. Let me scroll back up. Try not to see all my crazy chat. Let's blow this up so you can see what we got going on. So top table right now was Nicholas Rose and his Gene Stealer Cult from Gentleman Gaming versus Richard Siegler. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. With the Tau Empire from Brohammer. And these guys were on top table. I don't understand everything that had happened because I just caught wind that the live show was actually going and I missed it while I'm here at work. But from what I understand, here on top table, Nicholas Rose and Richard Siegler battled it out. And Gene Stealer Cult, which is not a good matchup against Tau, ended up losing. So not too much of a surprise, but especially when you look at, maybe with, and I apologize for the way this sounds, but maybe between average players, casual players, normal players, however you want to look at it, that matchup might actually be a little bit more balanced. But when you are talking about top competitors that know the in and out, like the back of their hand, they can thread the needle from 1,000 paces. They know the in and outs of every single army and know how to use and abuse the rules legally, of course, of their army and fight against other armies. It's a different ball game, and that's where it really comes down to your generalship. I'm not even sure if that's a word, but your strategic ability, your tactics and such. So that's why, other people, that might be an even matchup. But for these two, Nick Rose unfortunately lost. That is unfortunate. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the list here just so you guys can see. I don't want to spend too much time on this because I got other things to cover. But you guys can see here that we have Siegler's list, Outrider Detachment, Commander. There's a Strike Team, Pathfinder, Tactical Drones. Then he's got a Vanguard detachment. Trying to see here. Another commander, an enforcer battlesuit. Okay, Triptide. No surprise there. And then 1, 2, 3 Cadre Fireblades. Another commander and an ethereal in a Supreme Command detachment. And there's a little stamp of approval. So that's actually a pretty smart list. So well done. I'm going to go ahead and jump off there so you guys don't see all that stuff and we can talk about other crazy stuff going on. So it looks like, unless I hear otherwise here in a moment, that Nick Rose lost to Richard Siegler. Tal defeated the Genestealer cults. Don't know what that's going to mean for the meta. Tau have been kind of popping up, being all super secretive a lot lately, kind of like slipping through the lines of the meta. So that's really telling, really interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to end up happening, especially with September being the month, I believe, for the next FAQ drop. Excuse me while I take a swig of my, oh man, I just started drinking this Bang. It's 5 o'clock in the evening. I'm probably going to be up. Ugh, God dang it. Whose idea was it for me to drink this Bang this late in the evening? I'm old, and this is probably, it's not going to burst my heart, but now I'm going to be up to like, I don't know, 10 o'clock. I'm just kidding. But I'm going to enjoy this tasty, delicious drink before continuing on. Okay, so what I wanted to chat about, besides kind of giving that quick update, if you did not already see on, I believe that was Tuesday or Wednesday, it was the big announcement. I believe it was Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday, big announcement, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. They did a huge, massive release of information at Nova Open, which they've been doing for 4 years now, I think. Sorry, my balls did not just drop. I just kind of raised my voice as I'm trying to figure out what that was. So yeah, okay. So yep, last Wednesday, and what they did, they gave us a super rude teaser, and by rude I mean they did not give us all the information we want, but we still can glean a little bit of information out of here. As they said, they are making rules for every faction, which, as you can see there, I'll let you count, 24 factions are getting some sort of new rules update for their army. It's going to be expanded rules. They said that we're going to be seeing champions new and old pop up, and staggering revelations made. This is going to be a galaxy-spanning event. This is going to be bigger than the 13th Black Crusade. The Beast arises, the arrival of the Tyranids, and even, I believe, Armageddon. None of that, and even the Horus Heresy, none of that compares to what's about to happen. Whatever this massive psychic awakening is, it is going to shake up the entire storyline. It's going to shake up gameplay. So now, they said that here's something that's a little concerning for me. So each book will have powerful and thematic rules updates for at least 2 factions, giving more flexibility than before. So here's my concern. If I have 24 factions and each book will contain rules for at least 2 factions, then that potentially means we're going to see either 12 books, as there's 24 factions, so up to 12 books, and hopefully, I swear to God, they better be reasonably priced, or we're looking at 3 books that will feature the main 3 faction over the main faction versus the 3 mini factions here. Excuse me a second here. Let me drop this down. 1 second. Let's see here. All right. You'll have to excuse me for a second. as I help my employee out from here. Let's see here. You know what? Let me do this. Let me pull this up. What I would like for you guys to do, if you have not seen this video yet, watch this video, because I did not get a chance to show it to you last time. So as you can see here, this Inquisitor's rambling on about how whatever's about to happen was greater than anything else experienced by the Imperium. And they dropped the names of a couple big events and how those big events are nothing compared to what's about to hit us. We have no idea. Is this a new race? Is it chaos pushing back? Is it Xenos pushing back? What's happening? Is it something brand new? I don't know, but we're about to find out. I'm going to say we're going to find out probably in about probably about 2 weeks from now. So mid-September, we're going to see the next little clip. Over the next couple weeks, we got a lot of releases coming down the line. So I don't know exactly when. Look, Games Workshop has done a bang-up job on keeping this secret. It has been a frustration for all of us that are doing shows on leaks and rumors. Those of us with people that provide us with tons and tons of information from across the pond, even cryptic information we kind of have to decipher. It's not coming. They are doing a bang-up job of keeping that from us. So whatever this event is going to be enormous, and it is going to shake up all gameplay. Now, a lot of people are a little concerned, and I've seen it pop up on Reddit, on different channels, different web pages that do rumors and leaks. And most people are under the impression that there's going to be the equivalent of the Age of Sigmar endless spells, that we might be trending back towards a end of times sort of thing that happened to Warhammer Fantasy Universe before it became the current incarnation, the Age of Sigmar. We don't know, guys. What we do know is that there's a bunch of books coming. There's going to be tons of new rules for every faction. There's probably going to be new models for every single faction. It's going to have something to do with psychic abilities and something that is waking up. I don't know what that is. Is that there was a brief period of time where I think it was the Age of Iron or something like that, where the Iron Men, not Iron Man, but the Men of Iron. If you read I believe it was the first or second, it was one of the first, maybe first or second book of the Gaunt's Ghost novels. They encountered the Iron Men, or the Men of Iron. Essentially could be sentient machines. I don't know, maybe all of a sudden all the servitors and all these beings that have their brains mind wipe, but they're in all these powerful bodies, all of a sudden now are going to wake up and decide to start rebelling against their masters. I have no idea what's going to happen. Nobody does. And that's what's frustrating, but also kind of badass, because it's something new, and it's not only affecting every game faction, but it's affecting every fan of the hobby because we have no idea what's coming. It's awesome. So keep your eyes peeled. And as I get information, of course, I'm going to do some videos and keep you all thoroughly updated with whatever information I've got. So let's take a look at a couple other things. So as I mentioned in the description, that Nova recap, I'm not going to go over this whole thing because I did an hour and a half long show the other day about this. There are major updates, and we know that some of the a couple updates that are coming next week is okay. So this right now we're in a pre-order window for the Aeronautica Imperialis that comes out on the 7th, and we know on the 7th a bunch of stuff is going to be going on pre-order. Among that stuff, and Ski's going to cover, so I'm not going to touch too much about it because I don't want to steal his wind, steal his thunder. But there's a bunch of Age of Sigmar stuff that I'm quickly scrolling through up and down just so you can get an idea. If you have access to the internet, you probably have a good idea what he's going to be talking about tomorrow. So I'm not going to cover it, except I got to Ski just on one thing. I got to show this, this amazing, beautiful model that is going to get released. I'll let Ski do the full coverage on this bad boy. In the meantime, I cannot wait for that model. As you guys know, most of you guys know, I love doing models. I love painting and building. And that model, that's Gotrex Felix, and he will be mine. Okay, so why do I have this page up? You've already talked about Aeronautica Imperialis, John. What are you doing? Well, a lot of people were concerned that this was going to be kind of another one of those one-off games that Games Workshop wasn't going to have a whole lot of heavy support behind, and kind of like Adeptus Titanicus. Even though Adeptus Titanicus is a fantastic game, it's very fun to play, and it's very tactical, probably one of the most strategic games that they have available right now that makes Age of Sigmar and Warhammer 40,000 look like, playing playing checkers versus chess, or I should say chess being the Adeptus Titanicus versus playing Candyland, which is the other miniature games. It's a stark difference in tactics and strategy. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because that kind of, even though the game is still around, it's not going away, they're just slowly updating things. The Aeronautica Imperialis is about to drop this coming weekend, and people are concerned, it's just going to be Imperial versus Orcs, which is cool. We got a nice change up, so it's not Imperial versus Imperial or Imperial versus Chaos. No. This is actually the opening salvo to what they've got. The reason why I bring this up is that they've been putting these articles up. If you guys will remember, a couple of years ago, I want to say maybe 2 years ago, Games Workshop put out several of these aerial box sets. I believe it was Eldar versus Orcs. I believe there was Necron versus Tau. I think it was Chaos versus Imperium. So they had all these different plastic fighter kits from Games Workshop. And then I think a little bit before those box sets dropped, they had I want to say it was 6th edition. They had their own Aeronautica book that came out, not Forge World. It was a Games Workshop one that had these special cards and maneuvers that you could do with your regular plastic kits, or if you had Forge World kits. It was a good attempt, but the timing was not right because they did not have the depth of aircraft that they have now. And to be quite frank, to do the stuff that you are doing in Aeronautica Imperialis on a 40K scale, you need a massive table. Using a 4x6 is not good enough. You probably need 12x12 or 8x12, something along that lines, or 12x8, however you want to look at that. So I bring that up because they just put out an article. Was this today? Nope, it was yesterday, Friday. They're talking about several well-known aerial battles. Sam Hain versus, I'm not sure what that is, Orc. I forget what black and red, the checker marks, whatever Mad Thraka, or Gaskell Thraka is. Then we had the Sabbat World ones, where it's Chaos versus Imperium, which is very. If you get a chance, they're re-releasing the Double Eagle book from Dan Abnett. That's going to highlight this. Probably one of the best books I've ever read. Very exhilarating, very awesome, lots of drama, lots of action. Of course, Armageddon is another one of those massive, well-known battle. And then, of course, Rin's World, which is going to be the first campaign book that they're putting out, that's coming out this coming weekend. So the reason why I bring this up is that right here, they're already telling you that essentially, if it follows Games Workshop's standard modus operandi, MO, that this is kind of insinuating that there's going to be Eldar coming up, that there's going to be Chaos coming up, and then that means that Necrons and Tau are probably not too far behind. So that's very good. That maybe by the end of the year, or let's say November, late October, maybe November, December, could be January, hopefully not that long, we'll see the first new race expansion pop up. I'm hoping that's what's going to happen, because that will be very exciting. It's a great filler saying, hey, here's Eldar. You got your fighters, you've got your bombers, here's your dice set, here's your ace pilot things, and here's an expansion, or not expansion, but here's a campaign book and a board, a new double-sided area of engagement map. That would be freaking awesome. I suspect that's what's going to happen. I'm hoping it will happen, because I'm still hesitant about this game, but I'm thoroughly excited, because it looks like it's going to be fun. It doesn't look like it lasts long. It's like maybe a 20 or 30 minute, probably about a 30, 45 minute game, maybe an hour, but whatever this is, it's fast. It's going to be really fast. I'm telling you, you're going to want to get behind it. Trust me on that. Okay, so let me take a drink here, because I am talking rapid fire. All right, and no more bang, because I will be wired all night. All right, so that's very promising. That means that we got flyers in the future from different races, different factions, and this game is not going to go the way of Adeptus Titanicus. Adeptus Titanicus, if they're smart, next year, maybe sometime after the first year, maybe February, because that's not a great release month, they're going to go, you know what? Boom, here's orcs gargants, and here's some, maybe some Tyranids, Eldar, Phantom, and Revenant Titans. Bam, here you guys go. I hope you enjoy that sort of stuff. Maybe. And then they do a campaign book, and then we get more stuff. We'll see. So I want to bring up something else. I'm going to move on here because I'm running out of time. All right, so if you guys, unless you guys have been living under a rock or you personally just don't care, there's some major changes. Well, not major, but some big changes to the Legio Custodes, or the Adeptus Custodes. Custodes, the Golden Boys, whatever you want to call them. Just don't put it in chat, any dirty names. Okay, so lots of big winners and losers in the Forge World update. Now, this Forge World update is 100% official now. It is no longer beta rules. That is a big thing, is that no longer can any event, unless I guess an event can ban their use, but I don't see it. Most don't ban it, but now these boys are official. So let's review the winners and losers. First up, these gents right here, the Sagittarium, let me see, Sagittarium Custodes, I believe they're called. Yeah, these boys used to be a heavy unit. They have now moved to troops. So you now have another troop choice, ladies and gentlemen. And these troops are now 5 points cheaper. A squad of 3 is going to net you about 140 points approximately. And their guns haven't changed. The only thing that's changed is a 5-point reduction for each model. So that's actually pretty gosh darn good. And the fact that their troop choice is even better. They have a lower power level than regulars. So that's even better if you're playing power level games. These are one of the bigger winners. I don't think you're going to see a huge influx of these bad boys, but you are going to probably start seeing them being cheaper, especially if you're doing power level games. I'm already eyeballing fielding about 3 units of this, or maybe 2 units, because one of my other favorite units got a major point drop, so I'm happy about that. So the other troop choice unit that became a troop choice is the Custodian Guard. Now you might be wondering, well, Custodian Guards are already in there with the Guardian Spears or the Sentinel Blades and Storm Shields. You're right. However, Forge World put out Custodian Guard with Adarasite and Pyrothite. I am probably butchering those names, but those 2 new spears. Now here is the Pyrite. Let's just call it the Pyro spears. As you can see, if you're familiar with the game, these look like Melta guns. And it's very, very close. I mean, the damage is Melta. It's essentially a 12-inch Melta gun. And that is pretty gosh darn good. Now, they didn't get any points adjustments. They're still their basic points. But now you can have your Custo Guards with these weapons equipped and still be a troop choice instead of, I believe they were an elite choice prior. So pretty good, but that's not too bad with an Assault 1, Strength 8, -4, D6 damage, or roll 2d6 and discard one of those if you're within half range, which is a 12-inch range normally. So if you're within 6, you're going to burn somebody down. So really cool. The next up is going to be the Adrasite spears. Now these ones are essentially, they shoot out a beam of energy that basically disconnects the atoms or severs the connection atoms have to each other. So matter all of a sudden just falls apart, and it's a very, very bad, messy death for whoever's on the other end. Now these things are, let's see here, Strength 5, -3, 3 damage. So Assault 1, they're actually pretty brutal damage. Now they are 1 point cheaper than what they used to. I'll let you figure that point out. If you have Battle Scribe, just give it a couple days. They're going to patch it up if they haven't already. Are people going to be running around with these? I don't know. You have to look at the cost and the value. I think people want to keep your Guardians, Custodian Guard pretty cheap. You usually want to run 3-man. I don't foresee these all of a sudden popping up all over the battlefield. It's not going to disrupt the meta. And a lot of top players are not even using Custodian Guard. They're going to be using something I'm going to be covering in just a little bit. So let me shrink some of these down. The next one, these are one of the losers. And I don't mean losers because they suck, but they lost out on the official change. And I have a feeling I know why. And it's really a conspiracy theory type thing. It's not there. I have no proof, nothing that says, that I'm right about this or not. But the Aquilon Custodians, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. These massive Terminators on 50 millimeter bases with their, let's see, what are they called? These Infernus fire pikes. These bad boys, regardless of how you equip them, have gone up 5 points per model. Now these guys, you haven't even seen them fielded in 3 because they're extremely effective. Extremely, extremely effective. So I'll get to the reason why I think that these went up in points. Now, there was a number of these units. I think there are about 4. It looks like we have about 4 left that saw point increases, and there's a reason behind this because these are some of the most used models or units that are currently in the, I would say, top tables, whether it's full-on custodes or it's like your soup, what they call soup list. So it might be a little bit of custodes here, some guard here, Imperial Knights over there. But these are one of them. So they got a 5-point increase per model, regardless of how you equip them. The Dreadnoughts did not see any up or down. The Agamatus Custodians, they're the ones on their Horus Heresy style jet bikes with Adrathic Devastators. Those didn't go up, so cool. Now, I didn't pull it up here, and I really wish I would have. Let's see if I can get the picture. Let's do this. I should have had this already ready, so I apologize. Bear with me. Then Atari. Aha. Now, these little lovelies, my little cacaws here. These bad boys, I really like these guys. I'm really happy. They came down 8 points a pop, which is very good because now you can field, well, really, you're only getting maybe one more model. But the fact that they dropped 8 points makes them a lot more usable. I always thought that they were about 10 to 15 points too high, 10 ideally. So, they got an 8-point drop. I'm okay with that. I think their weapons should have came down a couple points apiece, but it didn't. Oh well, what am I going to do? I can't complain about it. I'm still going to field them. I've got 15 that I've been collecting from Forge World over time now, and I'm going to be using them. So it's going to be fun. So they're another one of those little light winners. Not a big loser, but honestly, I wish they would have came down about 3 to 4 more points. But what are you going to do? So losers, they went up in points, and that's the only thing that makes them a loser. Went down in points, so winner, 8 points. They're still effective. You might start seeing these. There is a use for them, but nobody has attempted them yet because they're looking for the super point efficient. But I'm going to tell you that because of some of these changes, you might start seeing them now. So let's get to the next one. Now, this bad boy is the Telemon Heavy Dreadnought. This guy, a lot of things happened to him. So let's go down the list. His super gun, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. The Accelerator Culverin has gone down from 48-inch range to 36 inches, from strength 8 to strength 7. So it's gotten weaker all around. It's Storm Fists. That's on its left hand. 20 points now. It's gone up, or 30 points if you're running 2 fists. Most people are not even using the 2 fists. They're rocking the double guns. That and the Arcana Storm Cannon, one or the other, or both. Regardless, this sucker went up. This one's not the one that went up extra points, but his gun got nixed. I think it actually went up about 10 points. I'm sorry, I should have had that up there. The Storm Gun, that Arcana Storm Cannon, went up 5 points. So that kind of sucks. So overall, this guy's value went down, which, this is another one of those staple units for relatively cheap staple units that top players were using, because it's a very effective unit, especially when you deck it out with double guns. So will we see him in the future? I don't know. I mean, slight reduction in its weapon usage and a slight increase in one of its other weapons, you might see these bad boys disappear. Now, here's the problem that I think we're really going to see disappear. This, if you're not aware, is the Adeptus Custodes Caladius Grav Tank. Now, it's got 2 different weapon options. I'm going to put up the weapon option that they've got here. This is the they all have the twin-linked Lastrum bolt cannons, and then this one has the double-barreled Accelerator Cannon. Very similar to the Telemon that we have over here. Now, this bad boy really got kicked in the junk. You got a 20-point increase, and the biggest thing is the strength of its weapon has gone from strength 8. Has gone from strength 8 to strength 7. And its damage has gone down to 2 damage from, I believe, 3. Might have been 4, but I'm pretty sure it was 3. So not only has it gone up in points, which I think a lot of players that use this, they all agree it needed to go up in points. We were actually eyeballing about 60 points. Keep it the same, bump it up 60 points, but they gave it a 20-point increase, and they really nixed its primary gun that most people take, which was the Heavy 8 Well, at that point, heavy 8, strength 8, -3, and I believe 3 damage cannon. That's these guns right here. Now they're strength 7, -3, 2 damage. Nothing else has changed. A lot of people should be recognizing this tank. They've probably seen it a lot. It's not a super tank. They die relatively easy with their toughness 7, 14 wounds, and only a 5-up invul save or a 3-up save. They drop. But they also reciprocate by usually with concentrated fire or just shooting one at something. You're very likely to kill a lot of things, especially when you're hitting on 2s. You're wounding on 3s or 4s for most big things that you're attacking, and then you're usually stripping away a lot of wounds. The fact that these things got downgraded so much, I don't agree with. I don't use them, but I don't agree with what happened to them. Now, one last one I'm going to talk about is the Orion Assault Dropship. This sucker is a beautiful, beautiful, massive model. Give you a reference. This little model below him is about 1.25 inches tall, maybe 1.5 inches total. And this model, I mean, it weighs probably about 3 to 4.5 pounds. It is a massive frickin' model. It went up 40 points. Let me double check my notes here. Yeah, went up 40 points. Okay. I mean, you didn't see it a lot, but you did see it. And this will lead me into why I think that the Telemon, why the Aquilon Guard, the Terminators, the Telemon, the Caladius, and the Orion went up in points. This is the Caladius Grav Tank. See this little thing right here? It says temporarily out of stock. This sucker has been out of stock for months, and I mean months. Yet, more and more people are showing up to tournaments with their Caladius Grav Tanks. Pretty curious. Pretty curious when all of a sudden there are more people playing with this tank, and not just one of these, which could be understandable, but when people are showing up with 3 of these, and that's the standard list, they're showing up with these at tournaments, GTs, and it's so many different people, and it's got Games Workshop and Forge World kind of scratching their head. And this is, of course, after they closed down 168 plus recasters recently. And it's like, you know what? There's way too many people showing up with this. The Orion Assault Dropship, our Telemon Heavy Dreadnought. I took it off there. But the Aquilon Custodians, the Terminators. We have not sold this much. We have not sold this much. Now, this is my slight conspiracy theory. Now as I pull up the Terminator so I can, gosh darn it, so I can talk to you guys about them all and show you the pictures. So they have not been selling a lot of these models, yet more and more people have been showing up to tournaments with them. So most of you already know what I'm going to say. I'm going to go ahead and say it. And that's because of recasters. Now, I have gotten components and models from recasters before over many, many years. Most of the time, and I'm not justifying here, I'm just as guilty, I might find like this head. I want 10 of this head, but I don't want 10 of this body. So, I buy that. Other people are like, you know what? I don't want to spend $80 for 3 guys when I can buy it for this amount. And this is the reason why Games Workshop just went through and just destroyed about 170 plus or 168 plus recasters, and they're not stopping. They're really going after them. But it's awfully curious that the 4 main units that we're seeing that custode players are using at GTs and majors, these big conventions, are these 4 models right here. These 4 units are the ones that got point increases across the board. Pretty curious. that it was just these 4 that got jacked up point wise and rules wise. Kind of makes you wonder what else is coming down the line from Forge World. I'm interested to see what's going to hit us come in the fall with the, what do you call it, the chapter approved. We might be seeing a massive update of Forge World units, like I bet you the Leviathan Dreadnought, the Dorito, I almost said Dorito, the Dorito Dreadnought, anything with butcher cannons, that massive assault drill. Let's see, what else? Forge World Knights, any of the Cerastus Knights. I have a feeling that all those bad boys are going to get point updates. And maybe, I doubt their weapons are going to go down, but I foresee them getting the points increases. And it's almost like Games Workshop and Forge World is very silently and unofficially saying, you know what? You guys want to buy recast stuff. We can't stop you, but you want to hurt our business. We're going to hurt your gaming. Now, are they saying that? No, they're not saying it. That's just me really super speculating and a dash of salt. Do I use any of these units? No. Does it upset me that they've gotten points adjustments and rules adjustments? No, because once again, I don't use them. But if it's awfully suspicious, and I'm really hoping that come Wednesday, I'm not seeing several of my favorite YouTube guys and gals on here saying, you know, I heard that the Custodes rules were updated because of recasters. And it was because of that they're like pretty much F you, everybody. I'm really hoping that people don't turn around and say that, because the last time that we saw that, and it was very recently, was somebody said, you know what, I think it would be really cool if there was a Black Templar versus Orc box set. This is just me speculating, wish listing. Then the next thing you know, 3 days later, a couple of us are reporting it is not true. It's just wish listing. A couple days after that, hey, guess what's coming? It's Black Templars versus Orcs with the new plastic gas skull. It's going to be awesome. Ugh. This is going to spiral out of control. I have a feeling, but that's my speculation. And are they within their rights to do something like that? Yeah, a little petty, and it's probably good that if they did do it for this reason, that they're not actually coming out and saying it, because that would look really bad for them. But it's awfully suspicious that these 4 number ones that are sold out and highly used by recasters and people that buy the recast stuff for their tournament list are the ones that got the adjustments. So is it true? I don't know, guys and gals. I don't. It's awfully suspicious. So I think we're going to start seeing things happening. This is where the state of the competitive meta is going to come into effect. I'm going to leave this image up because I think that one looks really good. We're just going to leave that up for now. So I can wrap this up here because I'm well over my time here. And I need to go check on my employee. But she should be doing just fine. I got to leave her on her own anyways. There's a lot of changes coming for the competitive scene. Do I know for sure? Some of it, yes, I do know. And some stuff I've been hinting on. There's going to be some changes starting next year. Points are going to be changing. The size of the games are going to be changing. Because I'm going to tell you right now that in 6th and 7th edition, even in 5th, the chances that you encountered a slow player were absolutely frickin' minimal. Absolutely minimal. And even with 7th edition, when it's so convoluted with so many rules and data sheets, you rarely came across somebody. And even when you did, it was like, oh, okay, well, he's playing, 500 orcs on the table. That's understandable. So, and even in the beginning of 8th edition was really fast, really, 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 really fast. Now, all of a sudden, people are having a hard time completing games. And the outcry is that there's way too many slow players, people that don't know how to play the game, people that need to get good. Really, I hear that from a lot of the West Coast guys. Well, you know what? If people would just get better at playing the game and learn their rules, they would play faster. If they would, roll their dice faster, it'd be a faster game. We wouldn't, stop having all these games ending on turn 3. No, it has nothing to do with that. What is happening is, and I've got a math guy working this out for me because I'm not a math guy, as some of you know, but we are now fielding more models than we were at the beginning of 8th. We are about the same level of models, and it's not in all cases, but kind of in a nice general look, we are fielding more models now than we were when 8th started. We're fielding about the same amount of models as we were, maybe I should probably say a little bit more, than we were in 7th edition. We were at a nice 2,000 points, which at the beginning of 8th was a very comfortable, very close to 1850. Now we're looking at around when we're playing with 2,000 points, we're actually over what we were playing before. In 7th edition and at the tail end of 7th and going into 8th. Now we have this explosion of models and points. We're fielding more on the table. We're fielding more rerolls. We're fielding more special abilities. Even though there's not special abilities and universal rules in the main book, we have more that we're dealing with. More. So it's not all of a sudden that everybody just got really bad at playing on time. It wasn't all of a sudden we just had this huge influx of slow players. No, it's the same core players plus the new guys, and it's not us getting bad. It's the fact that the size of our games have gotten larger. We were analyzing a couple of lists, and they are from when 8th edition started, kind of also 7th edition. We're looking, a couple of the armies we're around 2,200 points. And that's based off of when this all first started. We're playing with more than what we were. So we're anywhere from 200 to 400 points more than 7th edition when we were finishing games. We're about 200 more points than we started 8th edition when we were firing off games really fast. So Games Workshop, whether it's intentional or not, has been dropping overall the point values. And we're now fielding more models, which is great for them because they're selling more kits. So it's not that the players are bad. It's not that they're slow playing. It's just we're playing with more models. And chess clocks are just not the answer, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the answer. And getting good is not the answer. A points reduction is the answer. I think that's my opinion. I think that if we drop it down to below 2,000 points, even 1850, we're dropping it down to early 8th edition levels. We drop it down to 1750, we're getting close to 7th edition levels, and we're going to be seeing those less than 2.5 hour games like 8th edition was supposed to be, and that started it out. We would be getting back to that. Those games would be all of a sudden faster. We'd be finishing 5 rounds in 2.5 hours easily. Now, I understand that that's not a popular opinion. We don't want to do less points because that means less toys on the tabletop. And we have to rethink how we play. And we've gotten so good at being so efficient with our lists that any disruption to the meta would be bad. And that's why it's kind of getting stale right now, in my opinion. We're seeing a very stale meta. People are sticking to a certain format, 2,000 points match play. They're sticking to certain rules, championship, ITC rules, or Nova Open rules. And they are so fixated that any deviation is anathema to them. It's a bad thing. When in reality, we could become better players by dropping those points down. And all of a sudden this becomes even more competitive. It becomes more fun because now the struggle is real and we're not just blazing through. It's not a boring game. It's not a boring same list over and over and over again. We need to change up our primary, secondary missions. We need to change up the maps. There's so much that needs to get changed up, but the community as a whole is too afraid to go forward. They don't want to admit that essentially we're in a rut, and it's something that Games Workshop has inadvertently or intentionally created. And we're just kind of going along with it because it's safe, it's comfortable, it's what we know, and why rock the boat? Just have everybody just get good, get your games in so you can play faster, get a dice app, get movement trays, get a chess clock, and let's do this the hardcore way. Or, you know what? You could change your mental state, change the way to play the game by just simply dropping your point values down. Dropping it down to 1850 or 1750 will get us back to that early 8th edition vibe where we were at playing the game at 2.5 hours or less. I mean, at 8th edition, the first Warzone Houston, we were getting done with the game so fast, and that was right when 8th edition dropped. We were like 2 or 3 weeks after 8th edition dropped, and man, people were finishing these games rapid fire. It's so crazy. Oh, hey, how you doing? But I'm about to get off, so welcome, Texas Wargamer, but I'm going to be getting off here in a minute because I'm going to be closing. I got to go close up shop. But make sure you go back and watch. I did doing some ranting here about the competitive scene, but I'm going to tell you, guys that there are lots of changes coming downrange next year, and just brace yourselves. For those TOs out there, I'm going to challenge you to start making those lower point games for your monthly tournaments. If everybody in your area goes, you know what, let's get together, let's change how people play. If you have complaints and you have toxic players or people that are just too scared to come in because they're afraid that there's all these toxic players, change that up. You have the power to go, you know what, guys, we're playing 1750 or we're playing 1850. Get it back down to those early 8th edition, late 7th edition levels in model count, point count. Because it's, like I said, there's not a bunch of, it's not like the vast majority of the community has all of a sudden become slow players. That's not what has happened. If you think that, you are absolutely wrong. People not get dumb and slow during this edition. It's the number of models, number of points, and special abilities that we're dealing with. Real quick breakdown of what I talked about today. Texas Wargamer did a quick recap of Nova. It looked like Tau won the Nova Open after 9 games. I talked about the Adeptus Custodes got a whole bunch of rules adjustments. There was winners and losers. You can actually, and this would be good that I'm talking to you about this, go to the Warhammer community page and download the new Adeptus Custode rules. Do not go to the Forge World page to download the Custode rules because the Custode rules there are the old rules. The new ones are on the Warhammer community page about 2 or 3 days ago. So make sure you use those. So that's what I covered, and then I covered why 4 units got price adjustments and rules adjustments. I believe I shouldn't say why. It's my speculation why, because of recasting. And then, of course, I talked about the state of the meta and the direction it was going to go. So that's kind of the gist. I am well over my time here. I'm going to have to adjust my time clock for the week. I'm going to have to work an extra 30 minutes on another day, but that's okay because I got a chance to talk to you guys about all this craziness. So I'm going to stop streaming because I need to go check on my employee, get some lunch or dinner at this point, and get the hell out of here. All right, guys and gals, I will talk to you later. Have a good night.